Hello everybody, welcome back. It's been a long time since we've done some chess videos. It's a game I've been getting back into recently. We've been doing really well, having a lot of fun. And I wanted to start recording either some of the games that I play live on stream occasionally, or if there's been some particular fun games or interesting games of that nature that I've been playing online somewhere, kind of go through, copy all the moves, and kind of go over them post-mortem. In an effort to hopefully get some chance to analyze them a little bit better, continue to improve, and overall just have a lot of fun. They always had really positive feedback despite the non-master level of play, and hopefully that's something that we can get back with a little bit. So this was a game that I played a couple weeks ago, and it started off a little bit interesting. So let's have some fun and get right down to it, guys. So by the way, I'll always position the screen such that I'm the player on the bottom side, so don't ask am I white or black or this or that, because I'll always be on the bottom. It's just more natural of a way to look at things. So here we go. He starts off with standard moves, and I like to try something different. I like going with what they call Caro Kann. It's not Sicilian all the way up. It's not the standard, mirror match kind of deal. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that when I first saw it, I'm like, that's really weird. Who the hell would do that? What does this do? This doesn't do anything. This is stupid. This is ugly. So let's play it. And it's kind of where we're rolling with. So he continued with like a couple, just a random developmental move, and I continue to push through to try and take control over the center squares and kind of bother him a little bit. Standard stuff. He continues to develop, and I think, well, that's interesting. I've never seen that exact move coming from somebody when I start off with this, and I figure let's just have a little fun. Let's see what I can do to really just bother him. Since I have this guy down here, the knight's next two forward squares, I guess really his three best squares are all kind of blocked at this point. So I decide, let's just push up here. It's ugly, it's not optimal, probably, not quite sure, but let's just bother him, have some fun with it. Causes him to run away, which is good. Now he's really closing himself in, he's spending turns, moving backward, so that sounds really positive. You're like, maybe this isn't too bad. Too many pawn movements, I don't have any pieces out, but this just looks ugly. It looks enclosed, claustrophobic. So he tries to make some moves to get me out of here, and I just say, nope, screw that. I'm going to keep pissing you off because it's just more fun that way. If I were to have let him try and take back, then his horse is able to go over and get it. If I tried to push up to defend on the other side, then this guy's free. There wasn't really anything good I could do as far as saving that, so I just had to push it. If your piece is being attacked and you can't really defend it, it's never a bad idea. Well, I shouldn't say never a bad idea. Oftentimes it's not a bad idea just to move it and be like, here, now it's in your face somewhere else, go deal with it. So it continues to have him run around all over the place. It's I don't know. Obviously I haven't done a whole lot at this point, and he's got a couple of knights out there in weird locations. One of them is, but so be it, have fun. So I bring out my knight to just get something out there a little bit. I thought about moving this pawn up to solidify his position here. For the moment, the queen's defending this guy, so I guess I was hoping that maybe he would take it with the bishop if I left it alone for a turn, but he hasn't. And at the same time, I don't want to have too many pawn moves and not do anything else. So he makes a really bizarre move. I don't know what the hell he's thinking. Maybe he wants to double push up with his pawn and come after me on the bottom side of my pawn chain. I'm not quite sure. It seems a little weird. It doesn't really accomplish anything, and it gives me another chance to push up here and solidify my space. But I didn't. I decided to go regular moves, kind of free up my dark square diagonals a little bit, and start to play more real chess and kind of catch back up in the position game, and then see if I can worry about that later. That took one move too many, unfortunately, because now he blocks me off. I can't have a nice pawn chain way up in his grill right at the start. It does make a nice little home for the knight if I ever get him a chance to get there, but then his is still here for the moment as well to make that trade. So I'll have to see if there's anything I can do to kind of figure out how I want to react to that thing being there. For the moment, this pawn is hanging, so he's just sitting there undefended, nothing really he's got going on, so I'm going to come after him with the bishop and just, furthers to develop another piece. But then he's going to defend it with his queen, and I realize now my weird pawn pushing position play is kind of being counterproductive. I've got this guy down here that's nice and tempting to be eaten from his queen. At the same time, now he's got two guys on this pawn So it's looking like I'm probably going to lose one of these guys really soon, unless there's something I can do to defend it. So I decide I'm at least, you know what, I'll go over here, I'll attack his queen while defending this pawn. If he wants to fly over here and trade queens, I may be able to get another pawn or one of these guys back in response, and kind of just see how he wants to play that. He opts that he does not want to trade. Should he have taken that pawn all the way over there, we trade, his bishop comes down here, which is obviously kind of awkward and, you know, whatever, leaving this pawn. But if I take it with the bishop, then his horse comes down here. So lots of ways to further look at it. I don't want to look too much theory, too much, you know, oh, if this, then this kind of stuff, because I can't really do all that. So I decided I'm just going to take my pawn overall, solidify that I can keep this guy safe while I have the chance. My horse is defended by the queen, the bishop is defended by the horse, now the pawn is defended by the bishop. This pawn, however, unfortunately has been hanging since I moved this knight away to attack his queen. So there's not a whole lot I can do about that for now. I'm going to have to just hope to get that back later. These weird moves kind of put me in a bad spot to lose at least one of them. So he does go after it, and thankfully it's not the worst thing in the world. He's going after this bishop as well to get it out of here. But I have another awkward, very weird way of going about that. If he wants to take and make that trade, I can obviously take it right back, and then I've got the two pawns solidifying themselves as I initially intended in the first place, and then I can try and play real chess, being down one pawn from there, but just really having this you know, wedge inside of his grill over there. So he opts not to take that, and he's figuring his bishop is worthless, and this is just kind of ugly, so we want to simplify the board a little bit. He takes bishop, I take bishop, he takes bishop, or pawn, bishop, there we go. So I push up just to kind of get a better looking position over here. This guy was kind of in the way of the bishop and all sorts of stuff. I'll move his horse out of there, get him out of there. Just, I don't know, moving pawns is apparently the theme of this game. So I am down a pawn now. A little bit of position as well. You see the computer is rating him 1.3 points better than me at the time, and I just need to start from scratch developing pieces. I do see him eyeing this square down here. If I wanted to develop the bishop first, then it would have been free. So I'm going to put the knight out here first to kind of block that off, knowing that if he pushes with the pawn to attack my knight, it'll, one, block the diagonal, and two, maybe I can get something else going on with this knight, attack his queen, make it run around, excuse me, sorry, and maybe get somewhere with that. Probably not, but it's just a thought in my head, knowing that I pushed on his knight early at the start of the game. Maybe he wants to return the favor now, but he ends up taking this turn to castle, solidify his defense when you're a pawn up, and kind of play the game from there, since he does have the advantage at the moment. I take this turn to further my development as well, so that I can castle and get out of this awkward predicament and start playing some real chess, hopefully. And he sees that as an opportunity to put me in check. He's attacking a hanging bishop over here at the same time as well, and just really getting all up in my grill with two knights bearing down on me and a queen bearing down on me. And the only way I can either move my bishop right back and essentially have just wasted a bunch of time, and then that leaves this pawn hanging over here, which he'll just take, and then I'm in deep sorts of trouble. So I can't really afford to do that. My only option is to block it with the queen, offer up another trade, although this one wasn't technically offered a trade. He could have taken the pawn with the trade. But this time it's my only move, and he declines it. He's still interested in getting this pawn over here, having all of his guys facing down in one spot on me, and just creating all sorts of pressure. So I need to figure out a way to save this guy first and foremost, otherwise I have zero defense. If his queen gets over here, I'm not castling queenside, so the only thing I can do to save it, and this is ugly without having a bishop on the line, and at least I still have the bishop somewhere, is just to push to save that pawn. And he wants to bring his knight over to attack not only my queen, but also this defender, and see if he can get some weird, ugly stuff going on. If I didn't want to try and trade, you know, maybe I move my queen over, and I don't know. Then he just takes pieces whichever way he feels like, and it's just all kinds of not good over here. So my only real option once he does that, I have to just take it and trade. To which he just takes it right on back. His bishop is still being guarded by my queen. This pawn's still being guarded. This pawn's being guarded. This rook, however, is not guarded, so this is my perfect turn to castle. It connects the rooks. So now, as awkward and ugly and as everything has been, I've finally been able to stabilize. I'm still that pawn down, but my position is much stronger now than it was earlier. His bishop is still ugly. This rook is doing absolutely nothing. Granted, this horse isn't, but this horse is eyeing a nice square over here to make some attacks and kind of go after a couple of pieces. And he's only one turn away from being relevant. And obviously my other guys are all kind of closer to being in play than his are at the moment. So I've caught up a little bit, and that's kind of a weird move. I mean, since the board's kind of flipped over and I'm not worried about how he wants to attack me, or I'm not trying to think from his position as far as how to attack, I don't really know what his next best play would be. This pawn's stopping his bishop pawns a little bit. He doesn't want to necessarily just straight lose out on that if he pushes either one. He'd have to retreat to make up for the loss of material if he did, and I don't think he wants to give up that space right now. So he opts with a very, I don't know, I don't really know what the move does, but I guess he just didn't feel safe doing something. Maybe bring the rook out first just for a small positional upgrade. I'm not quite sure. I guess it frees up a square for the knight since these squares are about both bad. So maybe that's really where he was going with it, but I'm going to start trying to make some progress now. Since my rooks are connected, I'll bring this out, attack his queen, make him run away. I don't know where, I don't care where. He is kind of limited, can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. Obviously you can't stay in any of these lines. You know, maybe he'll just retreat diagonally up to one of these, which is probably obviously what he's going to have to do, can't go there. So it just kind of gets him out of the way a little bit. And I'm finally going to be able to start attacking again. This horse no longer needs to defend a pawn down here, and this pawn is also now defended by another one, so he no longer needs the horse on him. So it's time to start getting this guy relevant again. I'm going to bring him up here to attack these pieces. I know he's obviously going to move his rook to one of them. I'm not going to get the free exchange that way. And I don't want to take this bishop yet either, because his bishop is completely worthless. So by no means do I want to make this trade. But I obviously still have plenty of time where I can leave that there for potential future options. The horse is guarded, so I don't have to worry about him. And he's still guarding my bishop, or I shouldn't say still. Now he's also guarding my bishop, so I can move elsewhere with my pieces if I really need to. This pawn, however, is what's very interesting to me. As we can see, if my horse were to go here, he's forking not only the rooks, but the queen as well. So I need to figure out some way of getting there where I can get some advantage and win some material back. I'm still down a pawn, not a big deal, but I'd like to start, you know, kind of winning the game instead of being down. So if I were to just straight take it, however, it's pretty simple. You know, he completely follows up with taking it, I take it back, and then I won a pawn. So now we're equal, and I don't really have, and neither one of us really has anything going on right now at all. It's just random pawns and random pieces that haven't particularly moved anywhere threatening. Nothing is in sync, nothing's, you know, coordinated right now. It's just kind of ugly, but at least I win the pawn, I guess. So I'm going to decide that I'm going to opt to take it with the rook instead, making it very enticing, hoping that he would take it, thinking, hey, a pawn for a rook, that sounds awesome. And then I just proceed to win the game after that, but he doesn't quite go for it in that regard. So I do take it with the rook, and he opts to move over to the side, therefore he's got two pieces attacking this, I've only got one defending it. His net result would be a bishop and a pawn for, you know, the pieces, and it would work out in his favor in that regard. So I'm going to have to retreat at this point, since it's no longer going to be beneficial for me. At least I got my pawn out of it. The computer now seems to think that I am up a piece, or not a piece, a pawn. It's giving me the positive chance as the black player shows in the negative. So I move out of the way, attack his queen, continue to harass this without any other coordinating pieces. There's nothing this queen can really do around here at the moment. I mean, sure, I guess he could trade queens and get his pawn in a really frustrating spot, but it's going to be tough for him to keep that pawn alive. And it's not really worth his queen. When you trade the queens away, the game gets much more simplistic and straightforward. So I don't really know what he wants to do with it, but if I just chase it all over the damn board, maybe something will happen. Maybe he slips up, and he just keeps running it away, moving it backward and backward and backward, and if I can do that too, then I'll start taking up more of the space. And his only option really to save this pawn would have been to put his queen on this square, and that kind of gives me some opportunities for discovered attacks if I were to move my rook anywhere. So he opts for, I don't know, I guess maybe a safer square, but it does leave this pawn undefended, and now I'm starting to really take control. I've just gained 2 of his center pawns back, and now I've definitely got the position and the development that I didn't have 10 moves ago, and I've definitely recovered at this point. So he starts to finally develop his bishop. He makes an attack on my rook all the way down there, and really just being annoying with this. It's a really tough place for me to deal with having a bishop there. I can't push anything to attack at it, and if he were to get anything down on this back rank, a rook or a queen anywhere, like say for example his queen is staring down here to this A square, it gives him an opportunity for checkmate, as my king can no longer run away to this square 1 up. So he's trying to get me to move these guys out of the way, maybe incite some trades, and then go on a back rank like that. And I don't really like that. So I don't know necessarily how it's going to play out. I didn't want to think about it too hard. Obviously, it'd be a smart move to move my rook to either one of these 2 squares to have him doubled up. But being just potentially 1 move away from losing the game, I don't feel very comfortable with that. So his bishop was guarding this nice triple fork square. Obviously the bishop is still guarding it even though it's moved, because it can obviously just move right back. So I opt to go there at this point. Let me double check. There we go, yes. I opt to go there now, such that I force his bishop back out of the way. If he wants to take that rook, fine, I take your queen and I have check, then I take your bishop as you retake the horse, whatever, don't care, I have your queen. So it forces him to go back and take it with the bishop, but he doesn't. I don't know why. You know, this is where it started to kind of get weird. You know, I played a weird game at the start, and he was putting on some good pressure, making some good moves, and then I slowly worked my way back. And this move right here, I'm figuring he just has to take it right back. I mean, I guess at that point, well, yeah, because then I just take his bishop. No, but he's taking the horse first. It's still just a trade at that point. So I don't really know. It saves him from losing out on a major exchange if he just takes the piece, but he doesn't. So I can still obviously now get an exchange, either one that I want to take, and then I have a discovered attack on his queen. Granted, his queen can just make the trade and with the horse and end up losing out on the exchange, but it starts to get me to wonder, maybe I have some discovered shenanigans if I can put him in check. And then, you know, by moving the rook over, taking his queen, have a potential discovered check on the king, and just if there's any weird stuff I can do, but I wasn't able to find anything. So at this point, I just opt to take the rook on the closer side to the king, such that if he wants to take it with his queen, it kind of landlocks it in there a little bit from the pawns, as opposed to if it was on the other side, it'd be more open. If he wants to take it with the horse, then great, he's retreating even more. And he opts neither. Not only does he opt neither, he gives me an opportunity to just straight take another horse, or I don't know, maybe just take his free queen that he just left sitting there. And at that point, it made me wonder, like, was a kid just sitting on the computer at that point? After playing such a fun, good game for the first, you know, majority of it, it all kind of went to hell at that point. So he takes back on my piece, and at that point I almost kind of lost interest, I guess. When you get a free queen, it does put a damper on the game when it was a well-played game for the time. So I take my rook out of threat, out of harm's way. He puts my other one in harm's way, but again, I still have this pin on the pawn for the king. So this knight is technically undefended. He can't take that back. So he just gave me not only a free queen, but then a free horse. So he tries to attack my rook, but now again, there's another dark squared line that's free with discovery. So I get to triple my major pieces, put lots of pressure back on here, and checkmate will be coming in just a few moves after that point, since he's giving me all sorts of free play. But I think about it a little bit more. If I go up here, take, you know, this and that, he's got flight squares, and it maybe make it slightly slow, put the bishop to attack diagonally, he blocks it with pawns. It might take a little time, so this time I am just going to abandon that rook, no longer care, gives me a checkmate in 2, he takes it back, and then I take the game. So it started off kind of weird, started off kind of fun, just doing stuff that I know those initial pawn moves were not superior plays, but they were plays that seemed fun, and seemed like they would just be annoying as hell, and it led to an interesting game. I like how at least I was able to catch up a little bit towards the middle. I saw some decent combinations that I could try and do if I could get some pieces out of the way, and I was never able to fully make it work, but once I caught up a couple of pawns, I was fine with trades, and that's where he just stopped playing chess. Not quite sure what happened with him, but them's the breaks. I can't really dwell on it too much. He had his thoughts in mind, and maybe he just completely missed pieces. Who knows? But I had a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to going over and reanalyzing a lot of my old games and posting them for you guys as well. So please feel free, leave any comments, any questions, this and that you guys may have. Point out things that you see as well, and hopefully I'll hear a lot of feedback from you guys. So thanks everybody. Take it easy. Catch you later. Peace.